Had a second here.
Oh.
Okay, here's the difference. We're showing, I'm showing.
Right.
And then what you put. So this wasn't in there.
That contractor.
Just one.
Hopefully you guys will hear tomorrow.
Steve?
Good. What was that? In the minute?
Yeah.
But we,
These are my minutes.
this is what we said.
Oh.
I think
No, I think.
I have to get recertified, but
How does he
she
word
sent
it?
it for us.
Yes, if it was.
He also.
I worded it.
Does that make a difference with you guys? They don't want them?
And just said,
Why don't you just
items.
make a difference on how they feel and how they go to the insurance? Or just the billing with the exception of making a adjustment. I give it to me, then they'll be like, okay, we don't have to do all this for insurance. We can cut you.
You live with that?
We don't have to do all.
How do you want to
Yeah.
adjust it?
I'm gonna bring it up. Okay, we've talked about that. At the time, I didn't think so, but after looking at it today, I don't see it. So if it makes a big difference, I don't think.
You want that specific word?
It shouldn't be too.
I don't care what the wording is, as long as it says basically that.
Zero damage or something.
Yeah, maybe.
I was trying to be diplomatic.
So much.
Yeah, two different areas. And by.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
All right.
But we're gonna add just a few little.
Yeah. To make it work. Yeah, make it easier for me. We ready now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. We'll call it 6:03. Let's go to roll call.
Eldon Larson,
Here.
Rhonda Robertson,
Present?
Andrew Bushman,
Here.
Dayton Flake. Here. Karsten Flake.
Here.
Hey, thank you. That brings us to Pledge of Allegiance. We have a volunteer to lead us in the pledge. Thank you. Salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Daryl. That brings us to the invocation. Do we have a volunteer to give the invocation?
I will.
Thank you, Karsten.
Our dear Heavenly Father, as we come before Thee, we're grateful for this wonderful community that we live in. We're grateful for the moisture that we're receiving. Grateful for the opportunity to live in America. Help us to continue to be safe and to do the things that will best help our school and all those involved. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. I will make a motion that we adopt the agenda as presented.
I'll second it.
Any discussion needed?
I just wanted to point out there might have been a discrepancy on the one we posted. There was a JV coach instead, and it was listed as a junior high coach. So just one slight difference. And Megan Powers was the person it was listed by. But it's changed now. I'm not sure when we changed it on the window or the official posting area, but not a big deal. So I just wanted to point that out in case, just for the record, I guess.
All right, thank you. Anything else? All right, call for the vote. Myself, yes. Rhonda?
Yes.
Karsten?
Yes.
Dayton?
Yes.
Andrew? You're up.
I move that we approve the minutes for July 13th, regular board meeting as presented.
I'll second it. Any discussion?
Yeah, it's missing some things for future agenda items that we discussed that we need to get on there.
Okay.
Critical race theory that we talked about, one of the board members brought up, also gender, sexuality, stuff like that, being taught in the classroom.
All right, we'll make sure that gets put back on there.
We can put it however the board would like. I did have
it is addressed in this with the policies, advisories, and a little bit of my report. I was going to kind of address that. But the board may want to do more, whatever, like I said, but there are some things about it here. So it's not that I forgot.
We have some stuff coming up.
I just wanted it to be shown in the minutes that we talked about that, so that it continues to go through.
Make sure we get that in the minutes. Anything else?
That's all I saw.
All right. Call for a vote for that one. Rhonda?
Yes.
Karsten?
Yes.
Dayton?
Yes.
Andrew?
Vote.
Myself, yes.
I'm typing out of them now.
All right. And that brings us to the next one. That's you as well.
I move that we accept the minutes, approve the minutes for July 27th special board meeting as presented.
I'll second it. Any discussion needed?
On the, on the tablet, it's showing 29th for the label.
Oops. We'll get that fixed. That was on the 27th, wasn't that?
Right, and it says it above it, but on the attachment.
It shows 29.
Okay.
We can fix that.
But it's dated. It is dated correctly on the minutes itself. It's just the attachment date.
Julie or Steve, do you see where that is?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Carson.
Yes.
Dayton.
Yes.
Andrew.
Yes.
Myself, yes. Rhonda.
Yes.
Thank you. That brings us to Mr. Phillips' report.
Yes, thank you. So I have a exciting time, a lot of things going on. I don't have a long written report, but I did want to take you through it if I could. Of course, I've already cut most of you guys as you came in with this device if you try it out. I didn't want to try it on the first time they passed them out either. It's like, no way. And then I was like, wow, because it wasn't too loud and it wasn't too soft or invasive. I like them. And the principals, when I asked them, they said, yeah, we'll find a teacher that might be able to use them in some capacity. And this is the outfit. It's pretty nice. Each campus has one. I think there's 30 in there. Charges right now. Pretty convenient. And there has been actually a few situations where this has come up before and suggested by either teachers or like Steve actually brought it up once, or Jason. Like in a computer lab at the elementary, sometimes it can be hard to hear, or the gym, place like that. So I don't know exactly how the principals are going to implement them, but I know they have a plan. Anyhow, there is, as one of the attachments on the superintendent report, the football financial summary. So I would like to point that out. I'll just review that quickly. If you could see that, we did collect some revenue from that, and I thought it was a success. For the reason I thought so is because no major injuries that I'm aware of, or problems like that, and a lot of money was made by the classes in the school that we can use to help the extra work that needed to be done in the summer and catch up and things. So total revenue about 37,000 is the estimate. You can have that page. You may have questions on this. Feel free to.
Can you break it down? I mean, I know it's not in here, but could you break it down? Who kind of made some? What were the groups or whatever, and how much they made?
I might have to refer to Mr. Miller or.
We have all the invoices haven't been processed yet. That's why you're not seeing expenses on there yet. Y'all wanted to see something this board meeting, and that's all we have so far as revenue. So we gave you that. But,
we do have a document of the what or who earned what. Like, for example, volleyball did the concessions, and every time they make a deposit, it's tracked and documented. So we know that was one of the groups.
We had multiple classes and sports groups do it.
Good. all that wanted to were able, more or less, to do it if they
We
wanted?
contacted everybody and asked who wanted to do it, and then from that group that said they wanted to be part of it, they were assigned dates.
Good. It's a good opportunity for them to work and make some money to put in their groups.
These funds, the ones we collect, there's no strings attached, so, you know, it's free to spend how we like, which is a nice change for us. You know, a lot of it are the meal, it has to do with the meal reimbursement that our food service company takes in, because they take care of the meals.
So in the next meeting, hopefully we'll be able to have an actual P&L on it.
Yeah, I'm hoping, by next meeting, not all the invoices are in yet, so I mean, I
If
don't
they do them in 30 days, they don't get paid.
So. But that's the goal, yeah.
Okay, because we make all the deposits, so pretty much daily, that they, right?
Right.
So the schools facilities board, I did want to mention, surprise to me this morning, actually, we received an award letter. So yesterday I was told again, you're going to be put off on the elementary roof and this and that. I had meetings with the contractor about trying to order materials. Well, we can't purchase them until we get the final. Come to find out this morning, they awarded us the money for this roof at the elementary. I think it's like, I didn't put the number down, 1.1 million. So I don't know how long it's going to take to order the materials now. I think it's like 90 days out. But that's what that is. That's good news. It's a surprise. It's great. Daryl's excited. The gym, this one we started before the high school, and the high school's ready to go. So the gym is going to be out of commission because they're actually going to have to redo some supports in the middle of the gym. They're going to come in with some carbon fiber and wrap the connection of the joist at the top, and then put some new sheeting in where they believe it's rotten. There's 2 layers of shingles all coming off, and the TPO will go on.
So how long will it be out of commission, and will we use the old gym?
Yes, we don't want it to be out of commission at all for kids, but if we have to, we will work around it because we need it dry, need it not to leak, right? So the old gym definitely is a viable option for us. The high school gym, Mr. Miller said, would be an option. You know, the intramural program is important. We want to try and avoid that. If we could do the summer, depending on, like if they could do the lower levels first, which are the ones that are actually leaking, and then come back and do that. So those are all things we're working with the contract. And
they haven't given you any time frame so that like they could do it while we were on Christmas vacation? And
the only thing the contractor was a little bit, you know, concerned. The only conversations I had with them were, is our bid, are you still trying to go off of our bid because it was so long ago? Materials are going up. So we have to make sure that they could still do it for the amount they bid, and how that is going to work out. Because they warned me that there may be a change. So those are good questions, but the only answer I have is I notified him. Steve got the PO, I think, out to him today, or he's got it ready to send out to him for the work. Edge construction is the general, and the subcontractors like Classic Roofing, name of the roofing.
If they can't do it for that price, does that scratch the grant for it, or?
That's a good question. I don't know 100%, but here's what I think our options would be, what they call a change order.
Mm-hmm.
An SFB would probably allow us like an addendum or an added amount to cover that because, you know, it was delayed. It's not anything we did.
Mm-hmm.
It was just the politics, the funding that was available, all that. Or there's a chance that maybe we would have to pick up the difference, maybe, or rebid, go out to total rebid of the project. Now, that would not be a good option in my opinion. So I'm hoping one of those first two might be, so that's what we're looking at. And it's a good sign that also that same sentence is they gave us some money for temporary repairs, and they're going to send a big crew up here on Monday, tarps and tar and all this stuff to try and get it to where it's not leaking at all right now. So we're going to make sure, if you're available Monday, we want to point out every single place that we think is compromised and leaking. And the SFB's paying for that. Same company, we got the same company to do the temporary repairs that's going to be doing the main job. That's good, I guess. Some other items here. There's a summary of some ESSER funds. So there's an agenda item later that we could talk about it, but if you wanted to see like where we have spent some of the ESSER funds, it's this sheet. I don't know if they can pull it up here on the screen, but and what we're talking about with this would be, that's not the right sheet. Just ESSER 1 and 2, COVID funds 1 and 2. Steve's got it pulled up there. Get it in front of myself. Okay, and I can go through this quickly, I hope. I can't find the figure, but I'll just do it on the board. So you can see we have spent most of ESSER 1, most of ESSER 2, and there's a lot of ESSER 3 left. So, and it's kind of laid out there, a summary, not a breakdown of specifics, but where these things have been spent. You may have questions about specifics, and that's fine. We can do that. Okay, we have some policies here that attached to the governing board agenda, and the board prefer I wait to summarize that later, or okay, I can do that later. But it does address the governor's statement on masks, or making it where schools cannot require masks. It also makes it clear what is prohibited instruction, like what you can't teach. You can't teach prejudice and things that, such as commonly referred to in the critical race theory. So that's in a policy. We could talk about that more later, if you'd like, when it's addressed on the agenda. I did also want to mention, I think I mentioned this in an earlier report, a used pool cover that we purchased. We purchased it from the city of Chino Valley. They had it at auction, and I think we picked it up for $60. You remember? Yeah, $60. And the thing about it is so big, it's hard to roll out. But we're thinking if we can figure this out, it might conserve heat on it. Even if we can't, maybe like the ball teams could use it to protect the field in a rain, storm, or whatever. But if you want to look at it, it's behind the weight room over there by the bulkhead. It's very big.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering what that was. I saw it laying.
That we had an open house on August 5th, and I did want to just turn a little bit of time over to the principals to see if they wanted to just tell you about the Star School or the open house or whatever, and then I'll finish my report if that's okay. Mr. Moser, you want to start?
Yeah, so it was last Thursday, the 5th. Good turnout. Good comments from the parents about what school is doing. School is going with or without me. I'm trying to hang on for the ride. It's been a good learning experience for me. I've had a lot of support and help. The staff seems to know what they're doing, which made it survivable, I guess, for me. Hudson's here also, he's been a big help. They also have notes, questions for me. It's kind of how I've learned. They come and ask me a question.
Yep.
So I go learn my job.
I'll ask a question to start things off. He's thinking about tackling a big project for our school down there with intramural soccer here this fall. So I think he's got some help, some people that were willing to help him, but that would be a big thing.
Yeah, we're looking at October, end of September, October is when we're looking to do that. Be like our basketball program.
And we have funds for, shin guards and all that?
We will look at that. It's gonna be family, through the Youth Faith and Family Grant.
The fitness club.
Fitness club.
And maybe the Joseph City Foundation. So shin guards, I mean, I'm no expert on soccer by any stretch, but I think those are a little more personal because you sweat in them and stuff, so you might want those. But besides that, there's not much equipment. We're going to eliminate the head strikes for now at this age. It's outside if we like that. The uniforms, if we buy shirts, it'll probably say something like drug free, and we'll have flyers. So we think that grant will help fund that type of equipment. But the PE class would need the ball. They could use soccer balls and things anyway. The soccer standards will be an expense, but I think that's one we can find.
I may be mistaken, but I believe back 100 years ago when I coached AYSO, it came that we furnished them for the kids.
Oh, the shin guards?
Yes. And I don't remember seeing them at Walmart, and that's where most people around here are going to buy stuff. So I feel like that, and you do need shin guards, period.
Sure.
And you don't have to buy, real nice ones. They have a plastic with a foam backing that.
And we haven't decided if we're going to charge the kids yet either, but maybe we could buy them, but charge a little bit for participation or something.
That's easy to check on. My daughter-in-law, her family's been running youth soccer down in Safford for years and years and years. They still are. You can just ask them. They'll tell you all the information you'd like to know about that, and she'd probably be more than happy to help with it.
Nice.
They've done everything from running teams to setting the whole thing up to refereeing. They referee, and she's done it for them down there, even AIA reffing soccer games, so she'd be a good resource for you.
We're a day into the planning. We are.
I'm just saying, if you got questions, she can probably help answer it.
We want to pay the coaches and refs and everything, so we'll probably, that would come before the board, of course, and then we'll find out a funding source. This is a good project. I think he's onto something.
I agree.
Yeah.
I like the idea.
There's a lot of kids that would like to play soccer, I'm sure.
It gives them something to, even if they don't like soccer necessarily, they like being out with their friends. So, and doing something active is great.
As long as I don't have to help.
Sounds like you have a lot of experience.
I don't have to help.
I heard she had
And Mr. Miller, how did your open house go?
Open house went well. We don't get as many parents as the elementary school. In fact, we had a lot that got there right at the last second because they had kids in the elementary school, and that's a priority, which I understand. Went well. We've had a good start to the year. We have more kids than we've had in a long time, both in junior high and high school. We've got our our football and our cross country and volleyball started at the high school level, and then junior high is doing junior high football and softball, and they've all started this week. So everybody's busy. We have some teachers. I'm pretty excited. Some teachers have approached me about doing some clubs that we haven't had for a while. We'll work on getting an astronomy club set up, and then we have somebody wanting to do a school newspaper as a club, and we have some other ones that we're working on, chess club. So we're excited to get some stuff going and provide some new opportunities. And you know, that along with the soccer thing, that's kind of a cool thing for the staff that we have that are willing to spend extra time and donate their time to provide cool opportunities for the kids, which I'm grateful for.
And tell them maybe a little bit about your site council next week, just so.
We will have a site council next week on Tuesday. I'll get a message out to parents and put it on Facebook and do all that. At the site council, we'll discuss, you know, just the typical concerns parents have. Also would like to use it as an opportunity to talk about 50th year anniversary this year for the high school and come up with some fun stuff to do throughout the year in celebration for the 50-year anniversary.
Is that open to
Community members, parents, students, teachers, staff, anybody that wants to come? It'll be Tuesday at 4:30 in the high school library.
how are our sports? What's our numbers?
High.
That seem to
We're 0-for-0 right now.
Yeah, we've not lost a game yet. Football has more than we've had in 4 or 5 years. They're close to 30. Volleyball's mid-20s. Junior high softball's 20-ish. I don't know junior high football off the top of my head. So yeah, we've had.
I've counted 16, 17.
Yeah, so I mean, they're at least what we usually get, if not more. Last year football we had 15, so we're about double in high school football.
What are we looking at as far as busing from the Winslow and Holbrook? Because I know that affects our sports too, because then we have to turn around and run a bus later, right?
We do run a 6:15 bus after practice to take students home.
How much are we busing? Just
all the
Just
numbers.
in general.
Yeah.
I have not looked at the numbers this year.
I don't either. We have more kids getting on the bus than that signed up too. So that was, Mr. Mosier was working on that today.
Yeah.
I don't know if he
So could we have some numbers at the next meeting, if we could, please? Just to have an idea of how many kids are coming from Winslow and how many from Holbrook.
Now we can tell you how many are from Winslow and Holbrook without the buses, because we do have a record of that. So if I remember right, it's like 50 from Winslow.
Quite a few high
50 or
schools.
60.
I think it's the 90s.
Yeah, 90-ish.
We have
About half of that Holbrook.
I didn't get that, I'm sorry.
They estimate 90 from Winslow and maybe 40 or so from Holbrook.
Okay.
Is our busing adequate for that?
Currently,
You were saying we have more on it than we have signed up.
no, currently, yeah, we do. That is true. But met with Dale. We're fine at this point.
And we're doing okay as far as the kids not giving the drivers problems and stuff. We're doing good on that so far.
4 days into 4 days.
Pardon me?
First 4 days was great.
Well, you know,
You still have the bus monitor on the elementary bus.
good.
I've talked to him several times, come to high school, I've seen more often, he's giving me reports, that sounds like it's for the most part are doing good.
Good. Glad to hear it.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Appreciate that. So just a couple other quick items. Unless you have questions for him. We're working on a tuition reimbursement plan. That's actually later on the agenda, so I won't say much about that now. It's just would be an added benefit for employees here that the board would have to approve. We're not ready for you to vote on it yet, but we have information Steve put together at the end of the agenda. And then an update on the high school roof. The first notification I had was that materials would be here August 13th, but then they've also said the 23rd. So I'm not sure. We have a place where they'll unload the materials back there in the back parking lot and secure it all. And we've met with them and we're ready to get that project started too. They actually think of more seating on that roof will need to come down. When they look at it close, they can see, spots. It looks like it's giving down, giving weight down. Other than that, the COVID is picking up, and that's a concern. A lot of attention in the media to it. We are tracking it. The principals and I are going to have to meet tomorrow and see when we excuse absences for this, it affects our ADM. So this is kind of important, very important. And some decisions are going to have to be made if what kind of instruction, if any, are we going to provide. And if we do that, I need to apply to the state for that program so we can get reimbursed for the work that our teachers do. So that's where it stands. We were hoping that we wouldn't have many COVID cases anymore, but it looks like we're having a few.
We really haven't seen it in the district, have we?
Employees or students? We've had students in the first 4 days, yeah.
Almost suck it up.
A couple of households, positive tests, and the county found out about, and they notify us if they find out. We notify them if it's a student, vice versa. So, total number of students, I know what we have. We had 3. I'm trying to add both schools right in there. One's already back, I think. We had, that's what I have.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Any other questions for Brian? All right. Brings us to call to the public. Have anybody signed up? All right, thank you. That brings us to consent agenda. That's agenda item number 4. I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda items as listed. 4A through 4K.
I'll second.
Who?
Dayton.
That was A through K.
That's correct. Any comments, discussion needed? Okay, call for the vote. Dayton?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Rhonda?
Yes.
Karsten?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Brings us to personnel request 5A. I'll make a motion that we approve the personnel assignments, renewals, volunteers, and resignations as listed.
To all of 5A.
All of 5A.
I'll second it.
Any questions? Discussion? Okay. Thanks. Call for the vote. Andrew?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Rhonda?
Yes.
Karsten?
Yes.
Dayton?
Yes.
Thank you. Takes us to 5B. This is personnel appointments. I'll make a motion that we approve the personnel appointments as listed.
I'll second it.
Any discussion needed?
Is this where you're talking about?
Yes, so the one JV volleyball coach was actually listed at one point on one of the agendas I posted as a junior high coach.
Was it posted long enough that we're okay?
This will be fine since it's in the record and everything.
I'm first. I will abstain. Rhonda?
Oh, yes.
Karsten?
I'm right.
Yes.
I know. Dayton?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I have a connection there.
Do we want to read? No, it's done. Never mind.
Okay. That brings us to 6A. I'll make a motion that we open for discussion, retention bonus for all permanent employees.
I'll second.
Okay, so that means if we're gonna make a proposal or an approval, we need to do a new motion, just to let you know. So discussion. I know later we're talking about having a work session to talk about how to use those ESSER funds. Do we want to wait to do this until after we have that discussion? Do you want to do this now and then discuss with what we have left, or what would you like to do?
I thought our last time this came up, we discussed that we were gonna wait until all
So
of
we had a
that,
discussion,
and
right?
then we would know
Right.
how much we could give, and
Right.
That's my mistake, then I must have misunderstood. So I had some ESSER information in there, but if, yeah, I didn't need to put it on the agenda then, if that was the case.
how are we ready to move forward with the ESSER funds? I mean, are we looking at having a meeting or something right away in the next month or so, so that at the next board meeting would have it, or are we a few months away from that?
Well,
Later on a discussion item, that exact same thing comes.
Yeah.
I think we need to proceed cautiously with that kind of money. That's all. And so that's why I wanted the board to give input on that, and also from the community. So we can.
I'd like to wait until after we have a work session just to discuss all our possibilities and be able to put it in there so we can have a solid idea. That's not saying we're not going to do this. We're not saying we're not going to do this. I just would like to have a better idea of what our options are, what we would like to use. For example, I've heard one really good idea up at the high school is to make an outside space there in the middle where they can do some teaching outside or even some eating in the lunch covered area. They have a preliminary cost of what it would cost to do that. You know, those type of things are things that benefit the kids real well, teachers and everybody. So, you know, if we have a list of things like that, it makes it easier to decide how we want to do this.
But paying something like this definitely is covered by the.
Yes.
Yeah. I do believe they need a attaboy, if nothing else,
I agree.
for all that stuff they've had to put up with.
I agree.
And I'm afraid we're gonna get more. And so is this almost maybe a good time to go ahead and say, hey, before because everybody's trying to make it go back into the same thing we were in the past. Not necessarily here, but that would be my only thing is a good attaboy. Is this an appropriate time to do even a small one and then possibly more later?
Well, if we're going to do this, I would like to double it.
I would too.
So,
So
do one now and then one later?
no,
Or just do a double it right now?
double it right now if we're going to do it. This is our discussion. Here we go. So there's the discussion. What do you,
on that summary, where would it come out of? You know, that summary page you have for me.
Probably ESSER 2.
No, and what category too?
Oh,
Yes.
there's one that says instruction on it.
This is for like classified too.
Yeah, you have it here for 2.
yeah, it would be spread across really all of those categories: instruction, instructional support, administration, facilities. But it would be in the salaries and benefits line of each one of those sections.
So you can look at that financial report that he had up before. It gives you a rough idea of how much was spent in different places and how much is left.
would it be the ESSER 3, or is there still ESSER 2?
Well, we probably spend ESSER 2 first,
Yeah.
unless there's something that.
I can't remember. Is there enough in ESSER 2 to If we doubled it?
There's 444,000 available, unspent and uncommitted right now in ESER two.
Julie, that page didn't print out. That was
I
one.
printed black and white. That's
Oh, that whole page was colored? Okay.
So if you look at that page, uncommitted funds, you have just over 13,000 in ESER one and just over 444,000 in ESER two. I won't even talk about ESER three.
And ESER 2.
If you come back to this, if you were just to double, then technically it'd work out
Less than
about 96. Just to give you an idea, I mean, supposed to be a discussion, not just me.
I got it. Yeah.
Don't let me drive the boat. I'm not necessarily the boat.
Well, you know how I'm gonna vote on that, so.
I motion that we do the double.
No. You have to
Do we have to close the
you
discussion?
have to finish this one out first, right? We can't just change to a new motion until this one's finished.
Well, since this is just a discussion, we don't have to close it. We can make
Okay.
a motion
Okay.
to approve. So what you're saying is you want to make a motion.
To approve the 1,500 of the ESER, wherever it comes out of, just like it's worded.
So 1,000 per
So you're moving
employee.
to double the proposed
Yes.
rationale.
I'll second it.
Slow down.
Oh,
She needs to finish writing.
Moves to double.
But yeah, that would be 1,000 per employee for normal work schedule.
For
500 for employees that have 20 hours.
Okay. I'm putting that he's moves to double proposed rationale.
Okay.
And Andrew seconds.
It's one time,
So one,
Yeah.
the retention bonus, it doesn't go in as salary, correct?
It is salary, it's paid out as salary.
Well, it's not a renewing every year on a contract. It's a one-time retention bonus. It's a bonus. Let's call it a bonus.
So are we gonna discuss now?
Yeah, that's another
Okay,
discussion.
I wanna know, are y'all gonna settle down about trying to give money to everybody all the time when we don't have it now?
no,
Okay, well, then that tells me how to vote.
I'm gonna keep pushing for it because inflation's up 5%. And if we don't keep up with that,
And you're sounding more and more like the government and Biden. Spend, 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 and your pockets are empty. Just because we have a little bit of money now, doesn't mean we're gonna have it next time.
When are we looking at giving this?
there's September in there.
Yeah, I mean, we need
September.
some time to get it all together, but it would be.
Because there's been different discussion before Christmas or,
Previously, it was at the end of November.
yeah.
That's what you said.
So you're saying September now?
That would be the soonest.
Okay.
Like I said, we need to set up a special payroll, and it takes time to do all that.
How much is that mean?
I'm just curious, because I think that should be part of it, so they can
No,
know
they're
when
getting
to
it.
expect it, so they can look at that. I would, if I was doing it.
So is September pushing it? Do you need to go to October or November?
We just say bye,
Well, or we could just say, as soon as possible, and I would need to go back and have.
I agree with Carson. We need to nail down a date. We say they're getting it in September, they get it in September. We say
We could
October.
or for you, or you could do it right now.
Because originally we talked about November, the beginning of November. That gives you time, and it gives them
Well,
time.
what he's saying is he can nail down a date.
Okay.
Yeah, so make sure we nail down a date and let them know the date.
Sure.
We haven't approved it yet, but if it gets approved, nail down the date, let them know the date, and let's stick to it. Who was the last one to vote first?
Uh-huh.
Who was the last one to vote first? Me?
Hang on. Me.
You?
Mhm.
Okay.
Just to know about a date.
Okay. Any more discussion needed? All right. Karsten,
Yes.
Dayton,
Yes.
Andrew, Myself, yes. Rhonda?
I'm gonna say yes, but I'm gonna fight all the harder the next time you bring it up.
Works for me. Okay, that brings us to 6B. Discussion and possible action to approve changes to superintendent's regulations. So this is the fundraising?
Yeah, this is the one I mentioned last month.
So I'll make a motion that we open for discussion, possible action to make changes to superintendent's regulation JJE-R student fundraising activities. You have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Dayton.
So currently, if there's a fundraiser, the procedure or historically what we've done is allow classes like the class of 2024 or whatever, they get one fundraiser a year that doesn't need to go through the whole formal board approval process. But every club did. My recommendation is that we change it to where every club and extracurricular group, including classes, get to do the one without board approval. They still have to go through the process of getting it approved by administration and all the rules of handling funds and fundraising, so it's on file. But it wouldn't have to wait until the next board meeting. At least one. If they do an additional one fundraiser beyond that, then it would come to the governing board. That's my recommendation for this.
So as it stands right now, classes can do one. If when they get to a second, it has to have approval.
Yep.
But every other club has to get approval for every single one, right?
Yes.
So it seems to me that if we give every class, every club the same rules so that they get one, and then the next one you have to go for approval, that would make it fair and even and the same all the way across, so people don't have to.
And no matter who it is, they gotta go through the principal, correct?
Right. That's correct.
And it has to meet all the criteria already set up.
Right, well, that's all part. The only change would be
Including other clubs.
including clubs having one that they can do without getting approval through the board. That's the only change.
My question would be, is it going to just a little bit up the fundraising, or is it going to make it a lot more as far as?
I don't foresee it changing much at all.
I wouldn't think so either, but.
I don't think it will.
Except that we're fixing to start more clubs.
I don't really have a whole lot of extracurricular clubs that fundraise besides sports programs, and that's the same number. So I don't foresee astronomy club or chess club fundraising.
And I look at it this way, so like our sports clubs, our sports teams, we're telling them they have to fundraise to pay for half of their uniforms.
$500.
Right, well, yeah, so if we're telling them they have to fundraise, we might as well give them one that doesn't have to be approved through it.
I think that's a good idea.
Is there a limit in this set? I mean, are they allowed one without governing board permission and one more with governing board permission, or can they just keep?
So it, as it stands right now, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Bills, but as long as we approve it, they can get as many as they want.
Okay.
That's why, part of the reason why it's supposed to come to the board, so we can say, well, wait a minute, volleyball's had 4 fundraisers already. Why are we still approving them for fundraisers? You know what I'm saying? Just not picking on volleyball. I don't know how many fundraisers they've had.
Just maybe, I don't know what we need to do with this, but can the school board be informed if this is their second one or third one or whatever?
Sure.
Because I do think that is pertinent information. I don't know that we've ever even had it, but.
I don't think we have, but I think it's something that we would really like to have, because I have no idea.
I think justification, part of the justification is none of the rest of these clubs are doing anything. If whoever wants to do 5 or 6, if they have the gumption to do it, let them. Or at least that needs to be brought up.
Yeah, definitely. When you get the form, do they get the actual copy of the form that we submit? So on that form, it says list all the other fundraisers you've had this year and all the others you will need.
And they usually leave that blank. At least the ones I've seen.
If I know of the ones they've done, then I make sure it gets on.
So that's what we're saying. We need to know how many. If it comes to us, we're assuming they've already done one.
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
Right.
that's what it would be if you approve it.
But I've sat here several times and I've gone, I think this is like the third or fourth one that's come to us this year from this group. And I mean, we usually approve them all anyway, but since part of the idea is we want to make sure our community isn't getting hit so hard, it's hard to know how hard our community is getting hit if we don't know how many times we're saying, yeah, go ahead. Or, I mean, am I right or wrong? If you don't want to see that, let me know. That's fine.
Sure.
Okay. So I need to change the wording for this then to, I will make a motion that we approve the changes to Superintendent's Regulation JJER student fundraising activities as has been discussed.
I'll second it.
Wait a minute, he's changing it, and date,
He's changing the motion. And
I have to change, because our first motion was just a discussion, so now I'm making a motion to approve the changes. And then he'll second it, and then I don't remember where I'm at. Probably at Dayton. Dayton.
Yes.
Andrew. Myself, yes. Rhonda.
yes.
Karsten.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm glad you guys keep me straight. Okay, that brings us to 6, Charlie.
Do you want to start with the motion or want me to start with an explanation?
I'll make a motion that we approve. So before I make the motion, I'm assuming if I approve the changing, that means that they are getting it if we approve it, right?
If we approve it.
Okay.
If
So I'll make a motion that we approve changing the band choral director placement on their extra duty 1 pay scale to, or as presented. As presented. There we go.
I'll second.
Okay.
Okay, so it's listed on, we're splitting the duties between the two. We have a band teacher and a choral teacher now. So splitting those responsibilities, and I thought it would only be fair if we looked at that stipend and reduced it 1 level from level 2 to level 3. So that's what the recommendation is.
So does this cost us more money or save us money?
This will be a little, I was going to say more. Hold on a sec. So we got 2, it's going from a full, a level 2. Do you have that offhand with that? Anybody?
Level 2 is a JV coach's stipend.
Yeah.
Minimum is $2,200,
Maximum is what?
35-ish.
Okay, so yeah, I think this could end up being a little bit more depending on stuff. But he's pulling it up. So the max, let's go off the maximum, because that would be, so you said it was
35-ish.
35. So actually level 2, level 3, even though it's lower, when you multiply it by 2, it could be more, a little bit more, just to be totally honest about the whole thing. So he's pulling it up here. Yeah, thank you, Steve. Let's scroll down. So 3,100.
Oh, wow.
Sorry.
Let's try to make it bigger.
Trying to make it perfect.
I know.
Sorry, I was off. 22 and 31.
Yeah, that's good though, Eric. So yeah, see, if they were both maxed out on level 3, it would be a little bit more. That's what I remembered.
Okay.
That's why I was saying that.
And this would be tentative. I mean, if we ever went back and needed that, we'd need to redo that.
Right.
Extra duty pay 1 schedule. Well, level 1 is more than level 2.
Yeah, they go down.
Common Core.
This schedule is actually a little ambiguous, and I might be bringing a different recommendation, clean this up at the next meeting.
Should we just wait?
No, I don't think our payroll department wants this done.
Okay, well, I'm confused by reading this and looking at that. So you're wanting to go from the 38.19 minimum to the 2211?
No, it's currently a level 2, so not a level 1.
Going from 2
And
to
where are
3.
you wanting to go?
Level 3, because there's 2 people.
Okay, well,
They're splitting the assignments. Are they basically equal?
In
Fairly
my paper,
close.
no, but they're trying to
Level
make it
2.
equal by,
Fairly close.
yeah,
to a level 3.
kind of subjective, you know. One is
Well, that's
doing more of
what I
the
was
concert work, and the other's doing like more ball game, band stuff.
So does that mean we're gonna start having bands at our football games?
Plan on 7, I think. Or 4.
4 football games.
Is that more clear now?
Yes, yes.
So, and then now you guys can do whatever you want, but you know, currently it's at a level 2, and it's basically designed for one person.
So let me ask this. So this is just already written in. So if you're a band or if you're choir, you're getting it, period. We're just, so we don't have a choice of whether or not they get it. The only choice we have is going how much. Correct.
Now, with that being
Yes.
said, go ahead, I'm sorry. I didn't
No,
mean-
you're good. Go ahead.
With that being said, are the people that have agreed to do this, are they aware that they're gonna get cut?
No, there was some confusion, and I'll take full responsibility. At one point, I don't know if they thought both of them were going to get whatever. At one point, both of them probably thought they might get the whole amount because of some confusion. And then when I looked at it closer, I thought, no, this needs to go to the board. Now, board can decide to give them the full amount if you choose to. My recommendation is that regardless of whatever they thought before it was official, that we make it a level 3. But
Not very long ago, we just made that, right, a level 2 to 2 from 3?
no, it's always been.
Yeah, for years.
I don't know.
I thought not very long ago we did something like that.
I was no, you're thinking about when we changed, Mr.,
You're adding several stipends together that we
Yeah.
changed for certain.
Okay.
Board wanted to, I mean, as another option, wasn't my recommendation, keep them both at the level 2, then we should split that thing where it says
I think
band director, comma.
it had to do with
That's coming back
drama.
next.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah. We will do that. Because we post this on the website, so it's got to be official.
So we're
Going back.
Yes.
Huh?
Let me know if you have any questions.
Any questions? Where am I at, Andrew?
Yep.
Was that your vote? Or
That
was
was the question.
oh.
Yeah. Andrew? Myself? Yes. Rhonda?
Yes,
Carson?
Yes.
Hey. All right. There we go. That brings us to 7A. You don't have a thing down there. I'll make a motion that we discuss and approve the tuition assistance benefit for staff.
Just discussion though.
yeah.
discussion?
Discussion.
Make a motion that we discuss
I'll second
tuition
it.
assistance benefit for staff.
It's something we did several years ago, but we did it with a different funding source. This time around, we want to use the regular budget to do this, but I think it would be a good investment for the district, and especially in growing our own employees that are interested in becoming teachers. So Steve asked him to look at this, and it's been on his radar anyway, but we got some preliminary numbers, and is that attached to the board packet for them to see, or?
No, this is intended to be a draft and, get out in front of people, a proposal, and then we're looking,
So they may have questions, but just to sum it up, it could range from $1,000 as a minimum to $3,000 as a maximum. They have to finish the course. They have to apply for the funds. But I think employees would really like it, and appreciate the board for this.
So it's only to reimburse what they spent. It's not to make up for their time or whatever else.
No,
it's just a reimbursement.
Credit.
And it would just cover either, tuition or the fee to take the course. It's kind of there's some IRS rules around that, and so we wouldn't be reimbursing books or software they had to buy or travel or lodging or any of that. So it's just simply tuition, and Lisa, what the draft is set up so that there's no like you have to take so many credit hours, whatever. It's $1,000 per year, and whether you do that all in one class or you do it in 5 classes doesn't matter. But you do have to complete the course. You have to turn in some kind of a billing. You have to give us evidence that you've paid it. You have to give us a transcript or a completion certificate to show that you did complete the course. And if it's a college credit course, you need to get at least a C in the course. And so
Course has to be good towards education.
yeah. In fact,
or increase their capacity as an employee. So it's kind of open.
Right. So like if it was a maintenance guy, they could take a
Right.
course in AC or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
right. So
whatever.
Right.
the here in the what is reimbursable section. So it's training to improve your skills or obtain certification. Courses and training must be related to the employee's assignment, be part of a teacher certification program, and or employment areas of high need in the district. If we really need somebody who can have, I don't know, air conditioning skills or whatever, then we might consider that. And they would have to be applied. They would have to apply for these in advance, and they have to be approved on a case-by-case basis by the school.
So I'm looking at who's eligible. There's all regular employees who basically do 20 hours or more.
Right.
So does that mean if we have substitute teachers that are here subbing?
Well, the way it's written now is no, it wouldn't cover temporary or
Because we have subs that sub with the intention of getting their classes done and eventually being a teacher.
and kind of that, and one, we can change it. Obviously, this is a draft, but kind of as a starting point here, this is set up to yes, you need to be employed by the district for a year. It's set up as an incentive also to stay with us, not to be here long enough to get your $1,000 and go work for the district down the street. But so that's the other reason.
This is true, and I get that, but we also require our subs to get credit.
They can go anywhere
every year,
and
right?
work with that same credit that we may be, that we potentially pay for. They could be working.
Well, I can give a teacher credit, and they can go to Holbrook and teach next year for $10,000 more than they're getting here.
Right. So that's
same thing.
Well, that's kind of the. I mean, I'm not trying to advocate for anything one way or another, but the reasoning is
Each said
right.
After
Our regular subs, I think that's a good idea.
right. The reasoning is.
I think if we have subs that are been here all year and maybe last year and they're subbing and they want to
then you
work
need to
towards
come up
things,
with
they
some
should.
exact.
Can we get a copy of that, and can
Serious.
it go?
I agree with you.
And can it go? Have the principals seen
I
it? Or
agree.
they?
No.
Come up with exactly how.
No,
Discussed it this morning at our meeting, but I haven't seen a hard.
I think I'm just saying it might be good to get some input from.
That's why it's a draft right now, and we wouldn't bring it back for approval until at least next month, maybe the following month, depending on how.
My big question is, how much funds are we talking about?
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing is
So we'll limit it.
Therefore, we don't.
So it's worded to where once there's no available funds, it's over. So it's be first come, first serve, and we'll set an amount every year.
So
Steve, I'd like it to say that it will include substitutes.
Okay.
And we're having full or part-time positions for at least 12 months.
many times for it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how often we're.
But I don't think we should say they agree to do it so many times for us. I think we need to look at their track record, because we have no way of holding them to the future. We have to look at the past.
You've been a good sub so far, so we're willing to let you do this.
Yeah, and we do that kind of.
With the intent,
now,
yeah.
Those guys do.
Yeah.
Once you set up a preferred substitute, set that category, I don't know. It's treading on weird waters, yeah. I mean, it's too many variables. How do you define one and not define the other? Well, if we're doing this for preferred substitutes that are getting 20 hours.
Okay, so how about if we figure out how many
Days they sub.
well, but figure out how many days are in each semester, or even,
And set a threshold, you know, if
you don't do a third of the days.
or you have to work, I don't know, 30 days over the course of the year for
Right,
whatever it might be, and
We'll
once
get
you
that
hit that, then you're eligible then the following year.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a tricky line to go, because they can't.
That too, I guess.
Yeah, it's like,
The sub can't control if they get called or not.
Yeah.
Right.
The maximum amount of days they could sub is 100.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, if they're good, they're going to get
so
called.
if 119, no.
But if no one of the teachers gets sick, why would you call a sub?
When have the teachers not got sick?
Why? We get subs all the time, even for not sick. Coaches,
Coaches for sports, blah, blah, blah. Okay.
If COVID happened,
bands, and whatever else. I think it's a great idea. I'd like to see, you know, like you're working at the numbers that we have to give to that. And I think there's kind of needs to be a rotation. If you got it last year, but somebody wants it this year, maybe they get
there's
it.
a 5-year cap on.
Some that get called all the time, and some not so much. Some can only do Mondays, and some can only do days their husband works, you know, so it's a little tricky on determining, setting a number that you have to meet. That's kind of tricky.
But why? It's just like on this one-time bonus we're given. There was criteria for that. There needs to be criteria for this.
I agree.
So that gave me an idea when you were saying that. On the application, we can put down, if you're a substitute teacher, how many days do you typically sub? And so we can kind of weigh it or compare.
Or would you be willing to sub?
More in order to qualify for this?
Right.
We could put those type of things on the application.
Well, and also to your point, Rhonda, one of the criteria here is that you have to have worked with us for a year. So we will have a history, at least 1 year history that we can look back to.
But we still have to have that up front before we look back at it. They need to know before coming into the game what the rules are.
Then I say cut it in half for subs.
What do you say?
Cut it in half instead of giving them 1,000. We don't want to reward them the same as we do our teachers per se. You know,
You don't want good subs?
teachers are committed, subs are at will.
You have a point there.
Yeah, I do think that is something that needs to be looked at.
But we do require subs every year to get.
And that's when all I was saying is I still think it's a good program, but maybe instead of 1,000, we give them 500.
We can have that option ready at the next board meeting. Like, so the range for the regular employees of 1,000 to 3,000, just hypothetically for this discussion, and then the range for the substitutes would be like 500 to 1,500. Yeah.
So is this applying to the aides as well?
Yeah, because they would fall under the
20 hours.
20 hours.
Does it apply to substitute maintenance staff? There's a whole bunch that gets into this. That's why it's a draft.
I really like the overall idea.
If we can afford it, I do too.
We used to, when I was a teacher, we could get reimbursed for taking classes in the summer.
We used to have a funding source that from the feds that dried up about 5 years ago, and once that money was gone, we stopped. So,
Now they're printing new.
yeah.
Get a couple copies.
But we kept hoping something would come along, didn't. So did some research on how we can do this in a way that's that's, that,
So you were planning on having a total amount that we could spend, right?
right, we would budget, each year, you know,
And then
what,
once enough had been turned in, then the next guy doesn't get in.
So, since it says right here that the application has to be pre-approved, obviously you should know beforehand. I mean, they can't go take a class and then come back and say, hey, I took a class this summer,
exactly.
I get my money.
Okay, so-
You need to know beforehand. So you could also write into this, well, we only have enough to pay $30,000 this summer. I'm not saying it's $30,000, but whatever.
Right.
And then you could also put in there,
Divided equally.
well, no, you could also put in there, since we are wanting to do our we could say first come, first serve, but teachers are first and then subs type of thing. Because,
Any additional funds could,
yeah,
But you're also, if you're gonna do that, then you have to have a cutoff.
a date that they have to have their application in by.
Priority
And-
given to instructional
Well,
like teachers.
Yes.
And you're also gonna need to have a couple of, what's it called when you have people, in case the,
how many people you
what did he say?
Not many.
No.
Okay, what are we talking, 5 or 10?
Like when you have a jury, you have substitutes, but they're not substitutes. So if something, alternate, you need a couple of alternates.
Just in case somebody decides not to do it.
Or if they don't make
Or
it,
whatever.
what if they got killed in a car wreck or something?
Ooh, ouch.
I
Boom, we saved $1,000.
No, you're right. You're right. I agree. 100%.
No, we need it set up in this draft.
That should be very easy to say, well, we've had enough applicants that we're probably going to fill it, but if something happens, we'll get your next in line.
right, and exactly.
They don't pass, we'll let you know.
And it would be, it'd have to be a first come, first served basis, because there are, there's some professional development, that is not necessarily college credit hours, and they don't work on a semester. And so, gee, that came up in the spring. Well, you're free to apply, but we would only approve that if there's enough money. And if there's not, you may get rolled over to the next year.
That also brings up, if they're doing it in the summer, they wait to sign their contract, they keep waiting, they take the class, they get reimbursed, and then they don't come back. That might be something to look at too, if you don't.
Well, I would hate to see,
Well, they're supposed to.
they're supposed to get the okay
They
ahead
should
of
have
time.
we do their contract
I understand,
for the next
but they're
year.
hesitating. Maybe that's a bad example. Maybe they turn their contract in with the intent they're going to get this money, and then as soon as they do, they go somewhere else. I don't know that we need to reimburse that.
I don't think we would.
And we've got to make sure for this school year, we only pay for this school year. We don't roll them to the next school year. That's where the first come, first serve comes in. If me and Eldon take a class this semester, and then Dayton and Carson take a class the next semester, and we're the 4 that are approved, and that's it. But Andrew took a class too, and he was an alternate. He doesn't get pushed to next year in the fall. You see what I'm saying? He doesn't get to collect.
You can't really bind the future too on something like this.
He needs to be quicker on the draw the next year.
Right. He can't collect.
Well, it didn't underline basket weaving in December.
Yeah.
Because he messed around and he didn't do what he was supposed to.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
like he's always doing, sitting over there, causing trouble.
No, that's a really good point.
They didn't like my course.
We want to not do retroactive stuff.
Right.
Okay.
I think we just need to keep, it's good brainstorming right here, just keep working at it. Get something figured out.
But
As the draft.
with that, can the people that didn't get it this year, that did apply at the same time, but there wasn't enough, maybe they should get to go first the next year though, so it does rotate a little bit, and not the same people all the time.
You guys could vote how you want, but
That'd be too hard to keep track of.
I don't.
I still say first come, first serve.
You don't have tons of people going to college.
Right.
Yeah.
Most of our people that go to college are one of two things.
Your maintenance guy.
People that have been teaching for a few years decide to get their master's, which are few and rare, or you have an aide that's trying to become a teacher. That's your predominantly two things, or maybe Mr. Miller has an emergency teacher that's trying to get their teaching certification. That's probably most of the people that take the class.
I agree.
Most of your subs, they don't have to take a little 1 or 2 hour classes. They can do some MPC, but it costs them $200.
Yeah.
They don't have to take a $1,200 class for an MPC.
He's right.
And what y'all are forgetting too, not to minimize the effort that people put into this, that's tax deductible for them. It comes right off the top of their income. So it's not like they're not getting some benefit from the money they put out, other than the learning that they're getting.
And by the way, that brings up a point. This payment that we make to them, it's not taxable to them. If it's considered it's pre-tax
Benefit.
Yeah.
Right, but they also need, if I'm not mistaken, they can't claim it on their taxes as a tax, as a deduction.
Right.
Of course, that's not our problem. That's their problem.
Have we beat this to death?
Yeah, it's your vote.
There's no vote. It was
Oh,
just a
that's right, it was a
discussion. It was a discussion on a draft.
No vote.
Gave them some ideas. Correct?
Discussion.
Yep.
Okay, so that brings us to 7B. I'd like to make a motion that we open for discussion out of our planning for use of ESSER grants.
Yeah. If Steve would pull up some of that stuff on the screen for us.
Yeah, you've already seen the financial report. It's attached again down here, just so it's all kind of in the same place. And there's several documents here that you may or may not find useful, but they're here for you if you want. So this one, actually, it's
I had to download that one.
there we go. It's actually a PowerPoint. And so this is just an overview information on kind of a high level, might be something to go through, in preparation for our, any kind of upcoming work session that we might have, to just kind of get you familiar with some general stuff about ESSER 1 versus ESSER 2, and ESSER 3, and then just some more information. That's too little to read. So that's one thing.
Helped us with that.
Pardon?
Bill's helped us with that.
Yeah. Julie put that together as our grant coordinator. And then, let me go back here. So this one is actually something that you might find helpful too. Let me make it full screen here.
If you can read it.
Yeah, I know.
Which one are you looking at?
This is the third.
Allowable activities.
ESSER available.
Yeah. So these are kind of the rules or guidelines on what you can spend the ESSER money for, and it compares ESSER 1, 2, and 3, and basically they're all the same straight across until you get down here, and then this one here doesn't apply to ESSER 1 and so on, and this one here is the only difference between ESSER 2 and 3. So I mean, I won't go into the detail right now. I'm just trying to familiarize you with what's there if you choose to go in and look at it. And I'll say also, I don't want you to feel like you're not prepared unless you read every word of this. I mean, we will have a conversation about that when we have our meeting as well. So that's what that is. And then let me get back there. Okay.
Big ticket items we're looking at, I think, are all covered. So I don't know if that's going to be a major roadblock for us.
And this
boilers, things like that.
Yeah, and this is kind of this is a little more into the weeds. Kind of the rules that we all had to go through and learning about ESSER and all the different rules and how they allocated the funds and so forth. So again, it's not something you absolutely have to read. It's just there if you choose to.
But I think, Rob, probably at least what I'm more looking for is just a list of ideas of how we want to spend it.
Right.
I'm assuming that when the idea comes to us,
You've already made
it's
sure.
already following all of that.
I just had questions from board members. Well, what can and can't we do? And here's the stuff you can look it up.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, because
So what I'll do for you guys, or what we'll do as a team, is get a list of things, but then we'll narrow it down from there at like a board work session. And then at our community meeting, I think we should come in with, this is what we think are some priorities, and see if, because I don't know how much community input or participation we're going to get. So maybe we should take the initiative with some priorities, and then see if the community says anything too about them. But
well, and the community has a suggestion. It's good to go to where we go, yes, it would fit, no, it wouldn't fit.
And maybe
Right.
we need to print this stuff up and have it available.
Oh, it's actually on the public can see this as well if they were.
Okay.
we'll print it out. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
No problem. But I can tell you right now, most of the things we're looking at, from HVAC improvements, or even maybe a bus or vehicles, boilers, I think, carpet, air filter improvements. Some of the track was something I don't.
The classroom spaces.
Redesign of classroom spaces. So we have compiled a list with those things on it.
Is this something maybe we could help with that soccer thing as well, or does it need any more funding?
Shin guards. I would like to see, just my opinion, especially with now Rhonda's gonna look at me like I'm funny, but the chance of the plant shutting down and us losing some people, make sure we invest in something to be long-term, that we can have longevity, that maybe we invest here, so then when it does go down, it extends our.
Great idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say solar panels, then we have all that money, but it doesn't look like it fits into that category, so, unless you call that classroom. Outdoor classroom, under solar panels, come on, there we go.
Steve, do you know if that qualifies?
I don't. And
It doesn't look like it from what I was reading.
That's, unless somebody else has done it and kind of blazed the trail for us, that's something we might want to.
With an outdoor classroom, we're just paying for the covers.
Override funds would, if these substituted override funds, but that's kind of.
That's just me, because then we can get ourselves prepared.
Well,
We don't have to.
actually saves us money if we can do that. Interest.
A lot, yeah.
Free us up some more money so we can pay teachers better.
Does that sound good? We can, tackle those things. And it's tough because we don't, who's to say what the SFB might help us out with moving forward? Like our whole piping system at the campuses are at end of life, basically, but they're still operable. We've tested them, they're working. That would be a lot of money, but is that going to be qualifying for an SFB project?
Yeah.
Like our roofs did.
I think those are things we need to look at when we're doing it. As we break them down, what are possibilities that could qualify for that, and look at those.
And I would say too, this whatever we come up with, this document, that this plan is probably going to need to be a living document that changes over time, because like Brian said, we may set aside money for HVA systems, and we may want to say, there's a chance that we might be able to get some SFB funding, so let's set it aside, but let's push it a little farther down the road and see what happens with SFB. So it's gonna be a document that we want to look at regularly over time.
How long do we have to spend those funds?
It's different for the different categories. The biggest one, we have the longest amount of time, 2024.
2024 for ESSER 3, and yeah.
So, one thing I didn't mention, I want to, is I think control systems for the HVAC at the auditorium. If we keep the auditorium going, I think it would be worth it for us to get some really good controls on there where we're not heating the whole thing or cooling the whole thing when we don't need to. It would save us, and it would prepare us long term, maybe to use it as classroom space or whatever. Because right now it's not where we want it as far as controlling it.
Well, any ideas that we have as well that makes it more, I don't know what, kind of cooler for kids to come here. Because right now we have a bunch of kids from Winslow. And if we keep things here that are pretty cool, we'll keep those kids coming. And that's a big difference, or even get more.
But we're,
Because is that, I mean, we're down to minimum out there already. I don't think it's going to affect us a whole lot, kid count, when that shuts down, but it might.
we're attracting kids from more than just there too. I mean, we have kids coming here from other schools that like it better here.
So,
That's a very good point.
is your outdoor area filled as far as being able to put like your turf in there? Because that would save us on maintenance and water in the future.
So
Could we do something like that under an ESSER fund?
yes.
I think,
Did we specifically check on the turf?
no, but I think if it falls under the definition of outdoor spaces for kids, I mean, it does, because
That's something we wanted to look at, right? Have we got a place that we could do it and spend a little and see what we like?
Yeah, that's not the problem.
Baseball infield.
Mr. was making a map with a lot of areas to try out, and
Underneath the solar panels, that's serious, it's a muddy mess when it rains.
That's true. So the problem I've had with moving forward, I've stopped it because the amount, and I think you guys should have some say in that. And we got to get installers, and the amount is it gets pricey.
Mm-hmm.
If we don't install it, it starts getting pricey.
Because of that, it's almost one of those things where let's do it somewhere where it's going to do us the most good, not just a test spot.
Maybe.
Well, yeah, but test it also and see how it goes and then expand from there. But yeah, let's not just throw it somewhere.
I'd be impressed to see if it really saves us money. I see benefits both ways, but it can't save us that much money because there's really not that many people that do it anywhere.
I don't know, pretty much every, I can name a bunch of schools right off the top of my head that are our size. You go out on the reservation, there's turf everywhere. Ashfork's all turf. There's quite a few schools. Mm-hmm.
We have more of a water problem, I guess.
Yeah, Winslow has turf. There's several schools down south that have turf.
From what I've been told, you really don't save much on maintenance instead of vacuuming, and instead of mowing, you're vacuuming.
Yeah, or brushing. The newer stuff is a brush instead of a vacuum.
It might be nicer for players or students or whatever.
I'm not saying it's not something we gotta look at, but I'd like to see something. It's like going electric vehicle. I'm going to be iffy on it until I get something wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we ready to move on to the next one? Okay. I'll make a motion that we approve the first reading of policy advisory 680 through 711.
I'll second it.
Okay.
It's huge.
Yeah, this is legislative action and everything. So I could take you through it quickly, but and then see if you have questions. A lot of them are procedural and they just clear up the language where maybe they saw something that wasn't as clear as it could be. Advisory committees that are set by the board, and we have talked about that one, have to follow open meeting laws. So if it's like a superintendent advisory committee, not so much. If it's a board one, yes. So that's a summary of that first one. Instruction and training in suicide prevention. So that one looks like I might be out of order on my papers, but here. We're already required to do some of that. I'm not seeing my page here.
Is this stuff that's changed? They're changing, rewording type stuff?
It's minor changes in most cases. It's a minor change. I don't see the suicide one. Instruction and suicide, 696. I'm a little bit off Give me 1 second, I'll find it.
Andrew,
Right there on the top
Okay.
of
look
that.
at policy
page.
700.
I got it.
Now you made me get the other one I was thinking of.
So, if you issue cards to students in grade 9, you need to identify some things on there. We do ID cards. So in grades 9 through 12, this was something that started last year. So
We do post that on the back. You can put a suicide hotline on there.
that's what it is. That's what it is. It's very. I read that. Okay. Instructional resources and materials, 697. That item, to take you through it, I'm looking at the summary. This policy is being updated with language to interpret the definition of a textbook. As more districts move away from using physical copies of textbooks in favor of electronic ones. So a textbook now means any printed instructional materials. So like this is, hey, you're teaching, maybe somebody got mad, you're teaching something you're not supposed to, and that hasn't been board approved. Well, this isn't a textbook. This is something I found off the internet. Well, they're trying to close that loophole that a teacher or school might have. Okay. So that's what that is. Textbook material adoption, 698. Right with 697. So away from that. That change and to close that loophole affects 2 policies. That's what that is. Promotion and retention of students. It's now illegal to suspend or expel anyone under 6. So,
Man, kindergarten, get it easy.
wow.
It's illegal to suspend or
Yeah, something like that.
Expel somebody under age of 6.
Policy 699. So this is one that has been, it's got some media. Not a lot of people are happy with this in education circles, blah, blah, blah. It says.
Can't expel a kid from
kindergarten.
the little brat takes a bat to somebody, they need to be expelled.
Oh, this specific one, I'm sorry, it's not that. It looks like that one is in here somewhere, but promotion of students from 3rd grade regarding parent written notification updates, information to parents and guardians on the pupil's progress. So it adds a time frame of when, if we're going to retain a student in 3rd grade, when we notify the parents and all that. Teaching about controversial, sensitive issues. This is one that is worth our attention here. So we already have a policy in place, so this will be kind of addressing or modifying that or clearing it up. This states that any employee of the district involved with students and teachers in grades preschool through 12 may not use money, public monies or instructional time for things that present any form of blame or judgment on the basis of race and ethnicity or sex. And that's the language. So I don't know if you have any questions. So this would prohibit much of what I've heard about the critical race theory, the 1699, those type of things, because a lot of that can be given in a context where making some people try and feel guilty about how they were born, and that's against what we need to be doing. Okay. Moving along, admission of resident students. That's just clearing up some forms, like what they have to show in order to prove their residency. So, open enrollment, same thing. This 703.
I got a
This is repetition
question.
of what's been before.
Eric, you probably know the answer to this, but back to the activity cards thing, because of his thing of how they can identify their address and stuff. Is that on their activity cards?
Say that again, what part?
The address where they live?
No, so he's talking ID cards for schools, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah.
No, all it has is their picture, their grade, and the school year, and then
Because I know from experience of kids trying to get driver's licenses and other such things, if the school can print something as concerning their address, that's a form of ID that they can use. Does the school have something? Because that might help some of our.
We can create any card that we want, yeah, so we can do it.
A report card or something.
So that is a possibility. I don't know if everybody would want that on there, but any student that needed it could come talk to us and we can make it in 5 minutes.
Okay. I was just curious because that is one thing that you can use in different areas to prove who you are
For sure.
and where you live. So
704 is delete because of the new policy saying that was one saying you had to wear a mask that we adopted. So this will be a deletion of that because of the new governor mandate.
708, the new one.
Yeah, 708 is 706 is student suspension and expulsion. 707, and that looks like that might be the one. Yep, grades 1 through 4. So might be worth reading the whole policy on that one. I can get you specific answers, but it's a law, so it's not like we have a lot of options doing that. Immunization of students has to do with how we collect the records, document that.
That's the one that also states that we can't make them wear face coverings or even make them have the vaccine, COVID-19.
Thank you. Yep.
So I have had some questions and comments about that. So there's a proof. One lady wanted proof, and now she got it.
Yeah, good. And then
is this up on the website and stuff that people can look at if they want?
We have it printed out here for this room. Bob has it.
Yeah, it's like 160 pages long.
But I mean, is it something they could access if they wanted to?
I'm sure you can find it on the state and the school board.
Could we make a link to it?
We could make a link to it, and we also, it's available here if anybody wants to come at it. Yeah.
That way, if they want to look at it, they can see it. If we could create a link to it or something, then it would be easy for them to follow.
Yeah. Sure. 7.
Excuse me. This is posted for the public's viewing, so they could go to the board in the board book right now and pull it up. So it is there.
Do you think we should have a separate link on our website?
Well, I just think the more things we can connect people to, the more transparent we are in the giving information. If they want to look at it, they can look at it and see. And let's put as much out there, good information as we can, so they can get to it instead of have to search for it.
Yeah. Well, anything, we have a section on, governing board and policy and we can.
709 we'll have to do some work on, I think, because we have to put something on our website for reporting child abuse to Department of Child Safety on our website, and I don't think currently, we have something at the bottom of the page, but I don't know if that qualifies. So I'm going to have to do some work by the second reading of 709 to make sure we're in compliance. 710 basically is if you're teaching about something like sexuality in a class, we got to notify parents. Something our legislature passed a law and they're concerned. Some schools, they were teaching things that parents didn't know about, like sex education, which we traditionally have done here in Joe City, and we try and communicate. If we're ever going to bridge that topic at all, or approach that topic. 711 with deleting because it's another face mask one. And did I hit all of them? Not very well, but I did hit all of them.
A lot of information to go through.
There is.
But luckily, this is the first reading, not the second.
How many of them are there? Just 2?
And next meeting you would vote on it. And then after that, I send, if they pass, I send all the changes to any policy to their main site at the state, so people can access it from anywhere through the ASBA website. They keep track of all that stuff.
So are you going to link that then, so that, like we talked about, so anybody that's listening to this meeting that wants to find it can go to the webpage and find it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can, we just have to probably scan in, maybe at least the summary, or we could put a link to the, however you want to do it. We could scan all this in, or just scan in the first few pages. Hey, if you go through this, they'll have it underlined. Any changes or conditions are underlined.
So some people like to really dive into things and might find things that,
The rest of us
Yeah.
wouldn't.
Yeah. We count on Mr. Winter for that in our in-house. He researches, catches them for us. So.
thank you.
Okay, that moves us to requests for future agenda items. Or did we have to approve the first reading? We do. We have to vote on that, right?
I thought we did.
I think we do.
And
We have to vote yes on the first reading, I believe. And I'm at me.
Mhm.
Myself, yes. Rhonda.
Yes.
Yes.
Carson, yes. Dayton. And Andrew. Yes. All right. Thank you. It must be getting late for me or something.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, request for future agenda items.
We have some things we're going to have to put on here. The contract for this elementary roof, since it's been awarded, I think we got to do that. Anything over $100,000 on there. Want to look at the extra duty pay schedule. There's concerns brought up to me about that. So
The next.
Extra duty pay schedule.
So the one for coaching, that one page. Besides that, that's all I basically have in a work session with the COVID.
Okay, so that would fall under upcoming meetings and events. So first, let's approve the next meeting would be
September 14th.
September 14th. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to have a COVID meeting before that?
Well, that's what the next thing was I was going to come up with. Not a COVID meeting, but a ESSER funds meeting.
Yeah.
Depends on when they're going to have things ready. So are we all okay with September 14th, 6 o'clock?
Rhonda, yes.
Everybody, yes. I got that.
Preston,
Yes.
Dayton, Andrew,
Yeah, me.
Eldon.
Everybody's shaking their head instead of speaking.
That's okay, I said it.
Late. All right. So do we want to have a work session for ESSER funds? Are you guys ready to do one before the next board meeting, or?
And basically, it's a discussion. So I'm ready. Steve, you okay with whenever?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what I make sure I'm clear on this. What I see is coming up with a list and input from others, and where possible, some kind of a cost range.
Yep.
Yeah. So that
We would like to do this, and we think it's going to cost approximately this. So then we have this much to spend. This is how that allows us to say this is how we think we should spend it.
I would say if you can give us 2 to 3 weeks.
If anybody from the community or whatever, they have a place to go to put it down, whether it's to a principal or the superintendent or whatever, and bring that to the board as well.
Actually, Bob has done that before for us too. It's been a few months, but he did some research on like strategic long-term budget planning, like how much buses would cost. And I still have that.
Vehicles.
Yeah.
But I mean, just an opportunity, anybody listen, and if you have something, go talk to somebody.
Sure.
So as far as when to have this, I could be available next week, not Monday, but next week, and after that, I'm not available.
Okay. Steve said he needed 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay, well, I can't be here the next week.
But some of the stuff's gonna be hard to crunch some numbers on. Just,
Or do you want to wait till after the next board meeting?
There's a change in like.
I mean, this is not a need to be done right now.
I would prefer that. I mean, I'll do whatever you want,
Well,
but
I could be available like the week of the 30th, I think.
I think we can be more thorough if we wait a little longer.
You think you can be more thorough what?
If we wait a little longer,
Like
yeah.
the,
Labor Day week.
how about September something?
Let's set it at the next board meeting and
Okay, we'll set it the next board
Okay,
meeting.
that sounds good.
Give us,
What?
the next board meeting, we'll decide when, so we'll do it in September, after the September board meeting.
Okay.
after September 14th.
After September 14th. That'll give time for suggestions, principals. If you got any wish lists that fall underneath that, make sure you get them on the.
Emailing them, yeah. This is a good time to put in.
You might want to go wish list number 1, 2, 3. No, I'm serious. Makes it easier for us if we
open
know.
Santa Claus.
I did that at
and tell us what.
1A, 1B, 1C. I mean, you can be there anyway, so you can inform us while we're at the. Because you obviously have a finger on the pulse.
And if we can look at athletic things too, get a wish list from coaches or something like that, ideas that they have.
Or
Yeah, I like that idea. Wish list isn't my preferred term. But long-term planning for the district or something.
Something that will help us in the future.
Investments.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I second it.
Yes.
Call for the vote. Myself, yes. Rhonda,
Yes.
Carson, Dayton, Andrew. All right, let's sign. Thank you. We'll call it 7:50 p.m.
Danny.